Hello, my name's Bev, and 3 years ago I took up playing the recorder again after a 50-year gap. Hello everyone. Today things are going a bit crazy. I'm getting lost in paperwork. Have a look at this lot. Look at all this. What this lot is some of it are scores for, I'll put that back there. Some of them are scores for other musical instruments, primarily Bach. I'm into Bach at the moment. For example, here we have a partiture in D minor for the violin, which I downloaded from Muse Score, where people who transpose or arrange scores upload them, and you can download them, and they're public domain as far as I know. But because things like this are for the violin and they go down to D, the alto or treble recorder only goes as far as F. So it means that things have to be transposed for the recorder into a different key, maybe up or down. And in the middle of that, sometimes you have to mess around with the octaves to avoid going beneath that bottom F. And so what I've been doing is I've been using the free element of the Sibelius software, which is music writing software, to transpose various pieces from other musical instruments to the alto recorder. But it's all got a little bit crazy, and I've just got one big pile of stuff. Not only are there several pieces here all in the wrong order, all mixed up together, but there are also several versions of the pieces because I transcribe them, and then I go back and I find, for example, there where I've made an error, and so I just correct that, and then I go back into the software, update it, print it out. But sometimes I forget to bin the original, and sometimes I print it out on the other side of stuff that I printed out earlier, and so it all gets a little bit confusing. I need to organise that. And one thing I found in this transcribing is that if you're not careful, you arrive at the dreaded, I don't know if you can see it there, the dreaded high F sharp. Now that is the most, I would say, one of the most tricky notes within the acceptable register for the average treble recorder player. It's the note semitone before the top G, which is either fingered like that, or sometimes you have to put your little finger on there depending on the actual recorder. But the thing about F sharp before that is that it's one of those notes that doesn't have a perfect fingering, and all sorts of different people come up with ideas as to what the best fingering is for that. And it seems that the actual best fingering is, unfortunately, where you have to cover the bell, which means that it's a similar fingering, it's the same fingering as the G, but you put your knee up to cover the bell, which is a pain in the rear. I mean, it's good because you remember the fingering. It's not a new fingering you have to remember, but having to put your knee up to cover the bell is a bit of a pain. So yeah, I'm gonna have to go through all this lot because it's going a bit crazy here. Some of the pieces are just so tricky to transcribe and just so time consuming that it's often quicker to send off for some sheet music where someone has already done it for you, which I have done with, I have this book, which is a really good book. It's the first book of the 6 sonatas and partitures, transcribed from violin partitures for the treble recorder. And I've just sent off for volume 2. Difficult to get hold of volume 2. Very difficult indeed. But I know that the website I've ordered it from, Music Room, are having to do it as a special order. I don't know whether that's because so many people are going on to websites like MuseScore now and downloading stuff. I mean, there's a lot of stuff on MuseScore that has been transcribed for the alto recorder from other instruments, but sometimes those pieces aren't available, which is why I've had a go at doing it. Quite interesting that back in the day, many decades ago, when I was still at school and I was learning the recorder and the violin, back in those days, the internet hadn't even been invented, and I don't even know if photocopiers had been invented. What we did have here in Leeds is an excellent music library where you could go and borrow pieces, you could borrow scores and things like this. But then obviously you had to take them back, and there weren't even mobile phones to be able to take photographs to keep a record. If you wanted to keep that piece to play on your instruments after you returned it to the library, you either had to buy the music, which when you're a schoolgirl with only pocket money was a bit expensive, or you had to laboriously copy it all out onto music manuscript paper, which I did an awful lot back in the day. I mean, it would have been 1969, 1970, 71, when I was in the last year at primary school and maybe the first year at secondary school. I could never have even imagined what something like the internet would have been like, and the way that we could just download music, and then the fact that we could write music on the software as well. I mean, isn't that amazing? Anyway, thank you again for watching.